Whenever I look in the mirror, every time I see myself in the mirror, I just think, you look so much like a wet cat.
A wet cat. Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie and Johnny, everybody.
I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Johnny DeVito.
And
we still haven't
we
figured
still
out
haven't
the
fucking modified the intro.
I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it, and I was.
Was I sitting over here like a lost dog?
In my head, it's
You're gonna talk about me?
In my head, it's gonna sound like "Welcome back to Show Me Yours with Jackie, Johnny," and then I want you to be like "Entai."
Okay, I don't know if you ever want me to like pop in there. I feel like it's weird. I'm like, watch me walk all over this line. Welcome back to Show Me Yours. Entai.
Oh yeah, you know what? This is just your official permission to just freestyle it every time now.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Okay.
That's actually gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But you know what, Ty? Go fuck yourself. All right, that's enough of you. Okay, because today we have a guest in the studio.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Some people. When you're in a comedy club situation, right? A lot of times, like around fools like us, if say somebody's like, "Is there a doctor in the house?" You know what I mean, right? Like that. Probably not. But today we have a doctor in the house. The funny doctor himself, right? I mean, he'll get in there and I don't know, right? If there's something wrong with your funny bone, ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Grant.
Yeah.
Not the useful kind of doctor.
No, but still pretty impressive to me.
But like, if you need someone to solve a math equation, still probably not me. But in theory.
I mean, what is the deal about like a PhD other than like way too much like time and work and money in your early days and a piece of paper now, right? Does it open any doors for you other than financially or?
I would say financially, it actually closed a lot of doors.
Jesus.
Look, here's what you have to realize, right? So most people, you know, if they go to university, they do like 4 years of university and then they enter the work world. Mm-hmm. I spent an extra 8 years after that in school. I will never make that money back.
Yeah.
And you
fair.
I imagine, ladies and gentlemen, okay, so if you were wondering, is it worth it?
Yeah.
To follow your pursuit in academia, you're saying no?
No, listen. not what I'm saying.
I only deal in absolutes.
Kids stay in school.
Johnny's just trying to justify how dumb we all are.
So you're saying
so not worth it, right?
You regret it completely?
I dropped out of business school to become a plumber, and I regret that immensely. But in the back of my head, you are right, because there was a lot of time earning, and I even was paid to go to school and stuff like that through like government subsidies to get in the trades.
Like even my grad school, I had scholarships the entire time, but it's just I basically broke even, right?
Okay.
So I'm missing out on like, you know, God knows how much money I could have made during that 8 years. Like, there's a lot of really great reasons to get a PhD. I really enjoyed the topics that I worked on.
Yeah.
It was really nice not to have responsibilities.
Totally.
You know, I was a student for basically over a decade living that student lifestyle.
Yeah. Dripping in pussy.
Totally, yeah. That they call me Andrew Dripping and Pussy Grant.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
You're Andrew Dripping and Pussy Grant.
Yeah. 4 or 5 guys.
Andrew Grant. Yeah.
Doctor Dripping and Pussy.
Yeah. You know what?
Him, Mr. Dripping and Pussy Grant's my father.
Call me doctor.
Actually, founder of Squirt.org.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You definitely brought it to the table today. Now, Andrew, sorry to wean away from academia, but you did snap a picture of a ad for a gay hookup site.
Oh, you know, it was fantastic. I was down on Davie last night, as one does, just kind of living life.
Yeah.
I've lived down there. Fantastic neighborhood.
Oh, no, it's a great neighborhood.
Shout out to the Score. Shout out to Capital.
Yeah, but it is... rest in peace, Capital. Oh, it's gone, yeah.
Oh,
man,
Johnny.
I had to find out like this.
And you can pinpoint the moment where his heart breaks. And now.
Another victim of COVID. Yeah.
Oh man, I met so many cool people. Shout out hopefully Willie and Theo and all the guys behind the bar.
It was such a
they're
great
okay.
bar, like $5 food,
totally.
cheap drinks, skateboard videos the entire time.
100%, man. It was fantastic. One time I went in there high on acid during Gay Pride, and there was 3 dudes that were just standing by the bar and like old man sneakers, like the Nike 510 or whatever, like the New Balance 510. Yeah, like the New Balance, like white and blue. And then with just like Crown Royal bags, you know, like the Crown Royal bag for the 2.6.
Yeah.
The velvet bag just on their dicks. and they were just hanging out, having a casual conversation. And before that, there was a bounce castle in the middle of the street, so I was like, ripping on acid, and I'm like, fuck yeah, bounce castle, greatest time ever. And I went in, there was so many dicks just flopping around, and I just got scared, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go in the bar. And I went to the bar, and I was like, there's so much happening here, sensory overload. Yeah, exactly. I was just scared of all the penis, so I went home.
I mean, the thing about a dick in a Crown Royal bag is that you're afraid that you're gonna suck and go, smoky.
Well, the thing about a Crown Royal bag is that, like, an old Italian trick is that if you ever order, Crown Royal at my grandparents' house, it's gonna be like CC, but they pour it into a Crown. Oh, I shouldn't say that on the internet. Shit, I'm gonna blow him up. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's dead now.
I'm an Alberta premium man.
Oh, there you go.
Look, it's bottom shelf. It's cheap enough to mix and not feel bad. Mm-hmm. And if you want to drink it straight, you can.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Why would you want to?
I mean,
he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
distinguished Jackie.
Sometimes you want to be fancy, and you're like, adults drink things that they don't really enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know that, dude. I totally know that game. Because like when I was like growing, I was like, I want Manhattans to be my drink. It just sounds badass to go to the bar. I'm like, I want a Manhattan. And then you're like 18, you go to have a Manhattan. You're like, this is awful. How does my grandmother crush these all day long?
I had a similar thing with old fashions. I'm like, that's sophisticated. I'm gonna be like the cool student at the bar drinking his old fashions. Like, oh, this is what like adults call complex, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the as soon as like your like palate or whatever like crosses over, I thought like I drank old fashions for the same reason, kind of to like look cool or sophisticated or whatever. Fucking, I think like when punk turned hipster or whatever, like 10 years ago, you know what I mean? Like everybody kind of like had a beard now, and we're all like flannels and playing acoustic guitars and shit, drinking old fashions. Fucking hated them. And then
that is my little favorite brother to a T. Literally just described my little brother.
Shout out Kelly. But as soon as like it crossed over for that. And now, like, I really enjoy it, especially with like the the citrus in there, the orange peel, like all of that. It's there for a reason, right? So I think that, and then like, I had a glass of wine, something that I don't normally drink at all. Acidic and stuff. I've had surgery for like acid reflux and all this stuff. So I don't dig it for a lot of reasons. But then when you have a plate of food in front of you and you take a sip, you're like, oh, this is amazing, right? Yeah. So that's like the weird.
Like I do like a whiskey neat every so often, but it's like it's a sipping. I'm relaxing, having like one, maybe two drinks tonight. Like, but like no one's pounding like 3 old fashions. I forgot who I'm talking.
Jackie bought me a bottle of scotch for what was it, for Christmas or my birthday or Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous of it because like a single malt scotch or something is not really up my alley. But then when I come home from a comedy show, like 6 beers deep, anything in the cupboard is up my alley, I really enjoyed it. Now I think I don't know how I'm gonna like it if I order one at the bar stone cold sober and I take it to the bed. That might be a little bit different.
I started my drinking career on scotch. Didn't
you always wanted to be a doctor? Were you always? When did the sophistication come from? Because like when did you sit cross-legged like this in like kindergarten? Were you like an advanced student? I look at you like you're
cross-legged.
Yes. I assume that he's distinguished in all forms because I feel like you're a lot smarter than me. So I feel like in history.
I watched a lot of TV as a kid, and I would like parrot it back to adults, and they're like, "He's really smart." Just repeating shit.
Dude, I think I quoted Jim Carrey movies for like the first 10 years.
And people are like, oh,
you should be a comedian.
You're really funny.
Exactly,
it's like,
yes, I am.
I mean, like that.
Now I'm just confused.
I think we've all dealt with like people that are just starting comedy that don't really know that you need to be original.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So they'll start off just quoting other people or like doing really close to other people, and it takes a while for them to be like, I need to come up with my own shit.
I like to count the Dave Chappelle Mike knee slap every time I'm on an open mic. I think, you know what I mean? There's a little like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those
there was a kid who came around kind of during COVID. Haven't seen him in a while. Obviously, I'm not going to name drop. Not that anyone would know who this Luther is. But but he was like around for like a couple months during COVID. and he was basically just doing a Jerry Seinfeld impression. Like went up in a
Oh
suit. He was
my
a
God.
young kid too. Went up in a suit and just did the
We
same
all did shows
fucking
with him.
delivery.
Mexican Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he was Mexican John Delaney, or was that someone else?
Oh,
No,
millennial.
no,
there was-
same
Or
person.
John Mulaney.
Same
Yeah.
person.
I would-
Same.
Did I just call him John Delaney? I need to turn in my comedian card.
But yeah,
Good
so yeah, I
God.
think we're thinking of the same person.
Yeah,
We definitely are.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was
Oh, I
very
missed
much,
it.
yeah.
And then afterwards, he would be like, "Did you see me crush out there?" And
Oh.
it was like,
I watched
yeah, it
him.
was the worst.
I watched him sitting in the
Yeah.
back as Sharon Mahoney is hosting, and like a fucking pro am, but it's more am than pro. Let me
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
right? So we're all back there, and he's watching her fucking destroy up there, and he's like, "I don't think she's that funny. Like, I think I could do it so much better than her." And I'm like, fucking pull him aside, and I'm like, "You make sure that nobody fucking heard you say that. You show
Yeah.
some fucking respect and
Yeah.
learn something right now." Like,
I hope she just tore him a new
I-
asshole
Right? Imagine
afterwards.
if she
I didn't
Like
say
she
if she
does,
fucking-
like,
Yeah.
because it's fucking
She's so
amazing when that
fucking
happens.
funny.
if she
Oh
would have
my
caught wind of
God.
that, then it would have been over for
Yeah.
him. And it was like he didn't come back or anything, but I did like try to pull him aside and talk some sense into him to be like, "You have some fucking respect."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you just like walk out here with a fresh pressed shirt, right? You know what I mean? Saying
Yeah.
what's the deal with whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name names. There are people in the scene that their material's not my cup of tea.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But like I can still watch them perform and go, I understand why this is getting the reaction it's
100%.
getting.
Right.
And I
Absolutely.
can
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate that because of the reaction they're getting, that means that they're doing something right.
Right.
And there's something
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
will always watch and kind of learn from it, right? Like if you can get like if anybody can get a response from a crowd, then there's something to
Yeah.
watch and kind of pick up on, right? And then there's a couple of fucking new people in the scene that are like very fun to watch for different reasons because like I like watching people. We were talking about this last night. If you could do something that I can't do, this guy fucking Tim
Williams.
Oh,
Tim
Tim
Williams.
Williams. Oh my
Fucking
God.
Rookie of the Year,
Have
man.
you seen him?
It's not sticking out in my
He
mind.
just
fucking
recently
make
moved
a
here,
make an
long
effort
hair.
to. So
Okay.
funny,
Really
so
so
goddamn
Texas,
funny.
super funny guy.
Yeah,
And
he's from
you know what I mean?
Texas.
Yeah, when you
He's
see something
so
like that,
funny,
right?
yeah.
I'll sit down and go like, "God damn, I wish I could do something like that." You know what I mean? I would never write a joke like that just because I couldn't sell it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I have to
I
be like
think
in
he
awe
was
of that.
on the King's Head show that you were on that we weren't there for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Didn't make an impression.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Andrew Grant, not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm one of those assholes that when I'm at the back at a show,
Yeah.
I'm so up in my own fucking head.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
that's
checking
fair.
my notes and
Yep.
whatnot.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
it's gotten to the point where like you guys went and saw Dave Chappelle last night.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even go watch comedy anymore
No
because
shit.
like just I have the constant. My body keeps being like you're gonna go on stage in 5 minutes.
Oh,
And it
Right,
just it makes
yeah.
it so unenjoyable, and that's why like I've always got my phone out trying to distract myself. It's,
Right.
I can't do
I'm,
that. When we
I'm
went
terrible
to
audience member. I'm a horrible audience
oh,
member now.
when we were there, I
Interesting.
was
Yeah.
excited. It was like we have the night off. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like you
Yeah,
get
it
to like
was like
take
a
class. You
relief.
know what I mean? In a like an
It did
academic
feel a little
sense.
class-like,
Right?
like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
like
I'm
because
really-
it was like we were
Yeah.
sitting in the big auditorium kind of vibe.
6
Totally.
comics in a row just watching the go-tos thing, right?
Yeah.
We're like hyper
Yeah.
analyzing it. We did
Yeah.
the same thing with Canadian a couple weeks ago, and we got a couple tickets for shows coming up. And I'm looking forward to all of them. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
There's some awesome stuff coming to town right
Definitely.
Oh,
now.
some
Yeah.
great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. We're this is a music podcast. And
My transition was gonna be like the way Andrew, the way you were talking about like certain comics. It might not be my cup of tea,
Mm-hmm.
but like I could appreciate like how many bands do we like that are the similar fucking thing where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like I appreciate what these guys do. I'm probably not gonna put them on.
Which is
Yeah.
a great way of saying you hate the album that I
No,
brought.
no.
Much more favorable than us. I've like
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I didn't do the research long enough in advance, which I'm kind of upset about because this morning, diving into it by myself, kind of not really feeling it and not really getting into it. And I think the first track, still on the second listen to, fucking I'm Innocuous. That it was not
Yeah.
for me.
Should we tell them what the album is?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say, yeah. Please. What did you bring in for?
Yeah.
I brought in LCD Soundsystem Sounds of Silver.
2007 release. This is their sophomore album. Their first on like an actual label, EMI. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of a crazy time to be coming out with this kind of album, I suppose. I'm gonna do this thing now where we kind of look at like what the top billboards are like that, like
Yeah.
100,
I love it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
A lot of R. Kelly in 2007.
What era of R. Kelly is this? The remix?
Like
to
the
Ignition?
resurgence. Jackie and I were
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about this. The
the
resurgence. It's like
resurgence. Yeah.
same girl comes out,
Yep.
but like Rihanna's Umbrella came out in that
Oh, yeah.
time. Like,
Yep.
pretty interesting time. And yeah, I'm gonna say this, man. I really enjoyed the album. It was not a band that I would put on. I don't really know a whole ton about James Murphy. I've seen a couple of interviews. I'm like, this guy seems like pretty kind of cool.
Back in the day, they were like pitchfork darlings.
For sure,
right?
yeah.
I feel like they've had their cool wave, and now they're going into uncool. They
Right.
just did a concert exclusive for Amazon Prime.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And I was
Oh,
really
yeah.
bummed out about it because they've got a bit of a punk rock aesthetic, right? Like, but it's dance music.
Definitely,
Right.
yeah.
But
That was what I was gonna say. I did not realize how dancey
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
album is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the first listen by myself, didn't really the vibe just wasn't there. Whatever, too early in the morning, whatever the case is. But listening into
it's
the
not
car
morning
with
music. It's
with,
not, yeah,
no,
it's,
in the
it's
car
great
with me
driving
and
music.
with me and Jackie,
Yeah,
we were
yeah.
looking at each other, going like, "Does this album kick ass?"
Yeah.
like yeah, it was.
Same.
yeah.
It's like the vibe the whole album gives me is that when I'm listening to it, all I'm picturing is like a group of guys just going like.
Yeah. the Roxbury thing.
We were
Yeah,
fucking
Yeah.
with it a lot
exactly,
on the way
yeah.
up there.
No, it's because I mentioned to you guys when I was telling you about the album because you said that you heard one of their songs on the skateboard compilation.
We'll get into that. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I have no idea what song that would be because I can't
Yeah.
imagine anyone actually dancing
Yeah.
because it's all like weirdly melancholy and bitter.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I love that in dance music. I love that in dance music. But I can't imagine someone be like, yeah, we're going to get turned up at the club.
It's
Where are your friends tonight?
Well, I think that was my with me not really knowing anything about this kind of music or these type of bands. This is definitely something that's in the dark for me. So, what I had assumed was an LCD sound system song in the back of at the end of a Snowboard video. I think maybe I just put that into my head, or it's a completely different band altogether.
it might
but
have
I will
been-
play. It's a very somber acoustic song. Very slow. I played it for Jackie.
Okay.
And I
what?
was,
What is it? What
It's
movie?
called The Corner Man by shit.
What? No. What
That's
video?
an even weirder
Oh, it's
Yeah.
the snowboard video is
it's a snowboard
Lame.
video. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a snowboard video Lame by a group that did Robot Food Productions.
Okay,
So
okay.
they were just kind of a bunch of almost like a skate shop video or like a homie video or something like that. But they did Afterbang and Lame were the two that I know they put out. But they're
That's
fantastic.
Like a
And
weird
different kind of
acoustic,
music.
sad music. Because I thought
It was,
weird.
and that's what I thought. So that's what I thought the band was.
Oh, okay.
So I was completely in the dark. So listening
Yeah.
to the, I was like almost like blindsided by my own ignorance. Be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this isn't what I.
Yeah,
what
I like when
thought
that
it
happens
was.
though. It's
Totally.
fun when that happens. It totally
sure.
happened to me on this album.
Yeah.
It's
It
so
is. Well, you get
dance.
that moment of like discovery.
And
right?
I didn't do a ton of research on James Murray himself until like I kind of dug a little deeper because I listened to the album and I was like, wow, this is so like Talking Heads, like new wave dancey, like CBGB's dancey, like those cool kids like Blondie
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's that kind of vibe. And then I realized I'm like, oh, this guy is just like he is so fucking New York. It's
Yeah,
just like
he's-
that love letter to New York
Yeah,
or
if-
whatever.
if
It's
that
just like
Frozen
yeah.
song
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
that.
it's like holy
Yeah.
fuck. It's like it's like
Yeah.
New York, I love you, but you're killing me. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
holy shit, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So is
it's
it just
like-
like a few generations too late? What's the history of this guy and where he's coming out? Because for this to come out in 2007, I mean, it's kind of like a love letter to, 30 years prior in the city, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not all that familiar with his history.
Fair enough. Okay.
From what I can understand, he's like, I watched a couple interviews with him, and he kind of was like into it like quite late in the game. And it was something I kind of really related to because he was like,
Yeah.
oh hey, like he's like 27. He's like, and I've done nothing. He's like, I dropped out of college.
Yeah.
I wasn't working. Like I'm just barely existing. I just wasn't even writing music at this point. And he was just like, it took him till he was like, he came out with it when he was like 31 or something like that. It was like 5 years after
No
that.
shit.
Wow.
So it was like kind of this late to life kind of thing, but he started seeing this therapist that was like really influential, I guess, in his life. And then there's like that therapist dies, and then one of the songs is dedicated to him on that
Okay.
album.
I wondered what that song was.
And it's
I'm
kind of this
assuming
whole,
someone
this
great.
whole big
Yeah.
kind of compilation of like all this time he spent. That's kind of this whole like this breakthrough that he's had with that album. Fucking yeah, it was really cool. It definitely caught me off guard. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I brought it in is because I don't think that you guys, if you guessed what type of music I listen to.
No, that was the other thing. I was like, if
You could have gave me 100 guesses and I wouldn't have
Yeah.
landed.
But
Very
also
dancey
at the
shit.
same
It's like, all right.
time, listening to it, be like, I can kind of see Andrew rocking out to this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're like I picture you like writing code at 3 a.m. or
You're
something
not
to this.
far off.
I,
You're not far off.
yes,
Like the big
I don't
over-
want to be disparaging when I'm saying shit about you because you're a friend of mine, but like at the same time, I feel like you're like doing shit you're
I
reading
wrote my
thicker
thesis.
books than I am.
You
I
wrote your
wrote my
thesis.
thesis
Yeah.
to that album.
The big
Awesome.
over the ear
oh
headphones.
wow!
Yeah.
So this has such a huge
What's
like
really great
attachment
about-
to it.
Totally.
Yeah.
I say what's really great about it. This is I've tried listening to this music when my mother can hear it and she freaks the fuck out. But because of the repetition, right?
Yeah.
Because it's built on this core bass line, these core drum lines, and then like little mids and highs stuff comes in, comes out. But it's just this continuous loop, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's really good for getting into flow.
Yeah,
sure.
cool.
For sure.
And
Yeah.
vocally,
Like,
there's a ton
focus
too
and-
of just like he just
Yeah.
repeats these lines and repeats these
Yeah.
lines. There's
But the
amazing
songs aren't
stuff.
long enough that I think of with a lot of that stuff. Like if I was listening to this and those songs maybe stretched like a minute or two further, I'd be like, "Fuck this," you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
They, I mean, he'll land the plane in 3 minutes or like 350 or something like that, which I think which is good and it's weird, but not like the vocal stylings. We were kind of talking about like there's a lot of different bands or whatever that I listen to that I'm like I can see a little bit of that in there, but it's like there's something dancey or kind of polished about it that makes it feel like it's not, you know what I mean, like Cake or like one of the, you know what I mean, like one of the weirder bands or like Spoon or something that are gonna go like in a weird direction that but stay indie. You know what I mean, right? Like to this, like I'm so not a dance music kind of person, so it's weird to kind of see somebody with like this a lot of the similar influences and shit that I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of like writing a similar love letter or whatever. You know what I mean? That I would love to do had I be like a New York kid or something like that, right? But be a fucking completely different genre from anything that I would expect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like dance music, but there's so many like layers to it as well. Like the lyrics are so like deep and like have some really like fucking heavy themes in them and shit, and some of them are just like sad, like we were saying, and so it's like dance music, but there's so much more to it than you would just think with that kind of blanket.
I
label.
don't want people to think it's like a bummer of an album because
No,
it's
no, it's not.
I would-
Yeah.
it's
Like I
it's just one of
said.
those things that unless you're paying attention,
Totally.
you don't
Yeah.
catch that everything's slightly off
Yeah.
tonally.
Right.
But
Yeah,
there are like Sound of Silver. I think that's just a very funny line. Sound of Silver talks to me, makes you want to feel like a teenager. Until you remember the feelings of a real life emotional teenager,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you think again. Like
Yeah,
that's just a great line.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's almost more
Over
literary
top of
than
some
like
dancey ass
over
shit.
top of-
It's
Yeah,
like-
yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should be like a quote out of a book. I feel more
Yeah,
than like
no,
a song lyric. You know what I
totally,
mean?
yeah.
But like it's fucking like poignant as shit.
Like that's one of those things. Like you don't listen to it during the song, and be like, oh, this is a funny song. But when you
Yeah.
think about it, it's like, that's a fucked up thing to say in like
Yeah.
a fun party dance song.
Totally.
Apparently, he lined the studio with tinfoil. Funny enough, with
really?
tinfoil for the Sound of Silver. Like he just did like the whole like
Hell yeah.
Oh,
yeah the
shit.
whole fucking thing. To use so many great classic all these dance records, like it's like there's a reason why they're so fucking good, and it's
Yeah.
like they use a lot of the same things. So there's like a lot of this like same drum machines that you'll just see throughout.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
yeah.
from fucking first
Yeah.
like Marauder shit on.
Yeah.
There's just like this is always featured synthesizers that are featured. Like
Right.
the Yamaha CS60 is like a really really fucking cool synthesizer. I think like they use it in Bob Marley used to use it a lot in like
Yeah.
like Stir It Up, like that
yeah.
like that kind of shit. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
they use a ton of it on this album, and it's like just predominantly throughout. And it's like all these epic dance albums throughout history have like have
Right.
featured that specific synthesizer and these certain drum machines. So it's like this guy's he's setting himself up for just
What is
fucking
it like with
awesome.
like when you
Yeah.
put so much of that kind of effort into like studio production? How do you turn around and perform this stuff live? Is this a band? Is this or more of like a DJ kind of situation? Like what
So
do you?
My understanding is that in the studio, it's basically James Murphy and like a couple consistent session players.
Okay, yeah.
But when they tour, they do have people that they tour with. I think that the other one that's constantly being there is Nancy Wang.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
she seems to
And
be
then
like
there was
kind of like
one other person whose name I can't remember. But then like they would tour with. So LCD Soundsystem also got me into another British dance act. I mean, LCD Soundsystem was not British, but a British dance act called Hot Chip.
fuck
Okay.
yeah.
Chip.
Yeah.
And the guitarist from Hot Chip is part of the touring band for a lot of the LCD Soundsystem.
Yeah, okay,
stuff.
so, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Little incestuous ties there. I like
Yeah.
Jones, I'm down.
I'm in.
But it's a little bit of the Nine Inch Nails thing where like it's a band but it's mostly one guy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Oh, and I was just gonna ask, what is like the makeup of the band?
Yeah,
Like what, like for like instrumentation wise?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, they'd have like a drummer who would
Right.
also have like drum machines, stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
probably a synth
Right.
player, guitar,
Like the synth player.
bass.
guitars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
yeah.
because I think with pop music or anything that that kind of sounds like this, to me, it's always like somebody performing over top of the track or whatever. You know what I mean, right? There's a like, and this doesn't seem to be like front person centric, you know, kind of pop music or whatever. Even though like his lyrics are there.
I
or
mean,
something,
it's
you know,
dance music,
Yeah.
right?
It-
Like,
sorry,
it tends
yeah.
not to be singer forward.
for sure,
Right,
for sure,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I guess I don't know. I think I just need to like open up or something more to the more to these kind of stylings or something, because I could like, you know, I could dance around the house in my underwear to this. Like, wouldn't it be
Yeah.
fun, you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
what I kind of like about it is like how they kind of build it layer by layer. Like a good example is the opening to All Your Friends, where it's like you could almost do that with one person and a loop pedal.
I think a ton of these tracks are kind of like that, actually,
Yeah.
where it's like
Yeah.
it is just this constant build, and because it is so repetitive with not a ton of like, there's not like wild bridges thrown into songs where like, whoa, where the fuck did that come
So
from
it's
or
nice
whatever.
to have like these layers come in and out and like build a little bit at a time. So every time you're getting a little bit bored with this one loop, now there's
And
another thing.
Yeah, it makes you wonder like how much of that is like, okay, this. I mean, he's been making music forever, but it's like it is his second album in the studio. He's basically just kind of doing it himself. Like, is part of that like a limitation of like where he's at, where it's like, okay, I could build these, you know,
Yeah.
one
Right.
progression kind of whatever tracks or that, and it's gonna be.
Or like a flex in the sense that he's that talented and doesn't like he's got his own vision that he's gonna kind of see out. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I
Either
think,
way,
like,
it's
there's somebody-
amazing.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like-
Like if
Yeah.
you have an artist that's so I don't know, keen on like ownership like that, and like, no, this is like my vision or whatever I'm gonna put forward. If that's, you know, the direction, like I think it's
It is so
badass,
well
right?
crafted,
I
like
think it's,
every
like,
sound and
when it
like
turns
every
out this
layer.
good, you can't say anything.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. So how did this like album like come into your life? Like what was the discovery?
So, I mean, you guys are a little bit younger than me.
Mhm.
When you guys were coming up, like in high school and whatnot, were you guys like really obsessed with like musical purity? Because like I was a rock kid, and it's like I'm a rock kid. Fuck pop. Fuck rap.
Dude, if it isn't punk,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
We've talked about that
100%.
many times now. Where we're just like,
Yeah.
they like the segregation of styles.
Oh my god!
Oh,
I
yeah.
I don't know if it's still like that. I feel like it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's
Yeah.
just because we're older and we're like,
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Or
for
not
this.
even that. Like I'll hate the stuff that's like within my own genre too. Like
Yeah.
it's really crazy to look at somebody that like this guy likes a very like hyper. Like
yeah.
specific subgenre of a very
Very
specific
niche.
genre of music that I like. Fuck that guy
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that shit's like
That's so
is crazy.
stupid.
But like in the sense of like purity or whatever, for there's a sound that I like and like a certain tone of guitar and a certain you know, tempo of drums or whatever that I'm like, that's the kind of music that I don't need to know who that band is. Like I'll fuck with it immediately
Yeah.
from the first thing.
Yeah.
And the same thing with hip hop as well too, like an East Coast boom bap kind of beats and like lyrical if it sounds the way that I feel like it's supposed to sound, then I'll fuck with it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty quick to
Yeah.
be dismissive of a lot of stuff. Like it's good. A lot of shit kind of has to grow on me.
Yeah.
You know?
I honestly was never like that. Like I've always listened to a bunch of different genres. Like I've had like my favorites and stuff. Like always was big on classic rock and like funk and hip hop and stuff. But I've always
I
still
feel
like listened to from like pop to
Yeah,
you
she's
know,
a woman that
whatever,
doesn't
like-
understand loyalty. You know what I mean, right? She won't, you know, she won't go to bat for you if
Sure.
that's the, you know what I mean. I'm
I
looking
think-
for ride or die.
I think
I
I'm just
think
gonna-
women aren't held to that standard as much as men were.
That's the thing is,
You
why
know?
do guys
Yeah.
get so hyper,
Yeah.
like,
'Cause we-
obsessive about the things that they love?
Because we're fundamentally uncomfortable with who we are.
Like,
Like-
hey, who are you talking to?
We need that thing to be like, this is me.
Yes.
And when I was in high school, I was so locked in to being like, this is my identity.
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah.
And
Oh,
then I
yeah.
get to university, and my roommate in university, he was really into British drum and bass, right? So he started introducing me to that stuff, and I start warming to it a little bit because I'm older and I'm no longer.
Yeah, and ecstasy is
Yeah.
like gives you that kind of that feeling. You know what I mean? You can really start.
Yeah.
But he also I think my first year in university is when LCD Soundsystem's, I think only mainstream hit came out, which is Daft Punk is playing at my house.
That's
fucking
the
great
fucking one
fucking
that
title.
I know.
I mean,
Yeah,
if I heard it, I'm sure, yeah.
It was on the OC. That's how I fucking heard LCD Sound
Hey!
System.
she's just, she's got a Rain Man it in, but it's there. It's there, folks. You see her put it together? That was
Low-key.
fucking maestro-esque.
I
People
couldn't
say
admit
I'm not
it.
a genius.
I couldn't admit it at the time. I couldn't admit it at the time because I was so devoted to being a rock kid. But low key, the OC has had some really great music.
Dude,
on
they
it.
had fucking great music. Like they
Here we
were
go.
like one of the first
California.
No, but they like went into like kind of alt rock and indie music and
It's
stuff.
true.
And
Yeah.
purposely, the creator Josh Schwartz is a music lover and purposely sought out these bands that he wanted to kind of shine a light on. That's all I'll say about the
In the
OC for
pilot of
now.
One Tree Hill, there's a No Effects shout out. I was like, hey, they're trying to get me. These motherfuckers.
Wasn't that like a religious show?
One Tree Hill was a basketball
no, it was,
high school thing. I believe
it's
was
quite
it,
similar to the OC.
was it the
except
same creators or was it just
no,
like competing with
it
the
was
show
on
at
the same time.
Oh,
Yeah.
What was the super Christian punk band?
Oh, there's a few of them.
Yeah.
MXPX.
MXPX,
System.
that's
Yeah,
what I
they're
was thinking
definitely.
of.
I mean, like responsibility. Like they have a
Responsibility for a punk band.
It's a great song. It's a great pop punk
Yeah.
fucking song, right? What's that? Responsibility, not quite yet. All that
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like.
I don't
thought it
want
was
to
like,
think about
you
it. We'd
need
be better off.
responsibility.
Oh.
Give your life to Christ.
No, no.
Yeah.
No, they never really got preachy and stuff with it, but they, I think a lot of like love songs and shit. They have an album called "The Ever Passing Moment" that I fuck with hard. Responsibilities on that, and slowly going the way of the Buffalo. Life sucks. They're definitely a good, and kind of like semi-local from Bremerton, Washington, only a few hours away and stuff. So I've just kind of seen them a million times. They'll kind of grow on you. And when I was a kid, I still fucking dress like that guy. You know, I mean, nothing short of the fucking lip ring or whatever. I've been like
Yeah.
biting that guy's style the entire time, except for Christ.
But so the point is, right? Like James Murphy seems to come from like a rock punk aesthetic.
Okay, yeah.
But he's doing dance music. So it's just acted as this nice bridge for me to discover other types of music that
That's
I would also
awesome.
that I would also like, you know.
I think that's more punk. Like if there's somebody
Yeah.
in the scene or whatever that's like, I'm so punk that I'm gonna make some other
well,
shit.
like have you
Yeah.
You know what I
have you
mean? That's
listened to
pretty
much
cool.
New Order?
No.
Because so first there was there was like bands before Joy Division. I believe
Yes.
they were all punk people.
Yeah.
And then they founded Joy Division. And Joy Division, it was kind of dancey, but not really all that dancey. But it was
Yeah.
like super dour, super like not even emo, but like just sadder than emo.
It
Yeah.
is, right? And I think like what I was saying
Yeah.
about like a certain tempo and a speed or whatever of that stuff. It's definitely like in the
Yeah.
canon of punk, but like post punk or whatever, right? It's definitely it wasn't.
And then like the lead singer
Yeah.
killed himself, and the remaining members they went on and they founded New Order,
Oh, okay.
which I think has a lot in common with LCD Soundsystem, where like
Big
it's
time.
dance
Yeah, I
music.
see that.
It's
Oh, okay.
dance music that you can
Right.
dance to, but it's
Yeah.
also like weirdly sad and angry.
Yeah. It's the
Yeah.
classic CBGB vibe of
Yeah.
just like
Right.
there's that divide at CBGB of like there's the Ramones,
Yeah.
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 and then there's Blondie,
Yeah.
and like and
Fair enough.
and
Yeah.
the Talking Heads, and
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
David Byrne's the danciest shit ever, but you're like, who is this white guy with the shoulder pads? What the fuck is happening?
Well,
and
I
it's
mean,
like
Yeah.
we joke, but wasn't like Rapture by Blondie
the first like
first
rap track,
the
yeah, for
first
sure.
rap
Like,
song.
yeah, like
well, not the first rap song, but the first
Yeah.
rap song to
for a
like,
white girl to
To
sing
chart-
it.
yeah.
to get the charts.
Yeah,
It was the
Well,
first
we
rap,
found it. We
rap
found it
song to go
Yeah.
pop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fucking insane that just like out of that, I don't, were you ever like the rock kid that one of the worst things I think that just kind of contributed to my like apathy as a kid or whatever was that like this fucking sucks. I'm from a small town, like I should be fucking, 1973 New York fucking kid or whatever, right? Because you're just like pulling
Yeah.
all your influence and culture or whatever from, a very specific time in a very specific place.
Yeah,
which
I
is
have
so-
no idea what that's like.
Oh yeah.
Having
relate.
grown up in a small rural farming community and eventually moving to Asia for 8 years
Yeah,
to get a
I get it.
PhD, I have no idea what it's like to be like, I should be in another city right now.
You could just answer the question. You didn't have to be a dick about it.
You
A simple
fucking
yes
idiot.
would have done.
No, I can't relate. God.
Trying to have fun there, but you know what I mean. All
Oh,
right.
you got it, bro.
Yeah, maybe not the moment
I
you
pushed,
want
you
it.
pushed
but-
back.
So when growing up, then what was your like go-to music? Then you were a rock guy.
Yeah, I was a rock guy. I'm trying to remember what the crap I used to listen to was. The only thing that's sticking out, and it's not crap, was I had the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness double CD, like back
Yep.
in the day. And I remember listening to
Okay.
the shit out of that.
Yeah.
But really, like, you know, when you're rural, you don't have access to like
Right.
even
CD stores.
anything slightly off radio is kind of really hard to find.
Totally.
So like I remember that like the punk kids were all like, yeah, Green Day.
Yeah.
Which you know,
It's innocent. Like I fuck if
Yeah.
you don't know what else is out there, right? They're not gonna find
if
that
you
other
don't-
shit.
Yeah. Dookie. Was a
Yeah,
great
Dookie's like the
Slaps.
most like underground album at the time. Like
Yeah.
feels like, you know.
Oh,
what I mean?
absolutely. But like you can go back like Insomniac and Kerplunk and shit. Those early
Yeah.
Green Day fucking albums are awesome.
Look, I got nothing against Green Day. I'm just saying that like if you're comparing it to like
Oh, it's not the
hardcore
Cro-Mags
punk-
for sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That was the hardcore part as far as they were aware of. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
exactly.
it. Yeah.
Exactly,
you were
right? And I
very
think
limited.
like the especially in the time that we were kind of coming up to, if you didn't have like a CD store or whatever, like the way I think me and a lot of other kids that definitely listen to the same shit is we were lucky enough to okay, like Blink-182 and Green Day, they're there, but like No Effects and Bad Religion, these are like the guys that you're not going to hear on the radios, and then
Right.
their own record labels, and they put out compilations so you can get that $10 CD with 30 bands on it and really kind of explore. If you don't have that, like, or the internet to download or anything like that, like you're just in a fucking black
like,
hole,
the
right?
internet
You're going to
was
listen to
just
whatever you're going to
starting
get.
when I was like, I think when I was in grade 6, we first got the internet, and even then it was like 56K.
Yeah, how much
It
much
took-
Napster you downloaded on
took
dial-up?
like 20
yeah.
minutes to download a song on Napster.
For sure, yeah.
And that was assuming that my parents didn't freak out in the middle and tell me that they need to use the phone.
Oh,
Right,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, your parents told you they were going to use the phone. My mom
Yeah.
just did it. Like,
Yeah.
God damn it, Mom.
Come on.
Cisco's Thong Song's almost done.
Baby!
Dong, 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 dong.
Classic of its time.
I remember that song being huge, and there's nothing quite like driving down like fucking cornfields either side while someone's just blaring the Thong Song.
I like the way
bunch of white
that
Canadian kids.
Oh, batter up, better be next, bro.
Pickup truck just blaring the Thong Song.
Yeah, dude.
As it goes quiet. Yeah, I love thongs.
Just rocking on the porch, just looking out at the grass. I mean, it was. I think my brother had that shit on like the CD of that. I think you forget like how like Cisco and Nelly really dominated the charts.
Oh,
'Cause
man.
Nelly's
Man,
country
how could
grammar
you
fucking
forget?
Oh, that was
bangs
huge, yeah.
still
Yeah.
to this day.
Yeah,
Fucking-
yeah.
Oh yeah, look out for the
Shout
Nelly
out
episode.
to-
coming soon.
And when that was coming out, I'm like, I'm a rock kid. I can't fucking.
Yeah,
like this shit.
exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And now I look
So
back on it,
fucking
and I'm
weird.
like, there was so much good music. Like I kind of fuck with boy bands now.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah, you
Totally.
do.
There's
Yeah.
Fucking Backstreet Boys is coming to Vancouver. Want to go?
Probably not. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need to go with somebody, man. Come on.
I
Thought he was hopeful for a minute.
I remember some of the females in my life being super fucking jazzed about the what was it? New Kids on the Backstreet.
New kids on the block. Oh my God.
Because New Kids on the Block toured
They
with
toured
Backstreet
together.
Boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
And they called it New Kids on
I
the
was like, you're a
Backstreet.
fucking doctor.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, doctor.
Yeah.
New Kids
Yeah, I
on
thought
the
Jackie was
Backstreet.
gonna stab you for a minute.
But like
No,
New
it
Kids
was-
on the Backstreet sounds like the fucking like the bad porn parody title.
Totally.
I-
Or like the Walmart like
I
shit
assure
version
you-
like your
so-
grandma buys you for Christmas. Like, I got you the new. Got
we
you the
have
new.
New
Yeah.
Kids on the Backstreet back at home.
that new.
Someone
We have
knew
boy bands
exactly
back at
what
home.
tour I was talking about as I said it.
Yeah, they did. They went on tour together. But honestly, because a couple months ago, I filled in for one of Justin's trivia nights, and it was a boy band night, and I discovered that I don't actually know much about boy bands. It's just fucking Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, because those were the two that I grew up with. Like, I didn't even fuck with, like, New Kids on the Block or fucking...
Yeah, a little bit
98
generation
Years.
before us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I found
Yeah.
out recently? Because I remember that you know when like in the age of the boy bands, the big thing was Backstreet Boys versus NSYNC.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
They were
posters
both
all
created
over
by
the
the
wall.
same guy.
Oh yeah, but that's how you do it.
Yeah,
Like,
like
that's-
that
like,
fight.
that's
Made
how you
this
make
false
money.
That
rivalry.
price
Right,
gouge,
like,
baby.
Made this
Fucking
false
Ponzi
rivalry for
scheme.
them to play off.
Oh
each
yeah,
other.
man.
And the entire time he's going straight to the bank.
And
Oh,
that
100%.
man's name was Vince McMahon.
fucking genius.
He's
right?
gonna sing. He's gonna sing.
And then 98 Degrees is just there picking up crumbs.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
fucking
There was a few of these other groups, right? That really never
Frosted
got
Tips
They
picking
all,
up.
yeah, the only reason anyone knows who 98 Degrees is because Nick Lachey
Was
went
on
on to marry
reality
Jessica
TV.
Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, they would have been completely forgotten
Yeah.
from cultural consciousness. Like, I can't name a single 98 Degrees song.
Yeah.
I know. I like.
They
it
have
wasn't.
to have
It wasn't
something
in the
with
city.
temperature.
Of
in it,
course.
right?
Yeah, it's hot out here.
It's very hot in
yeah,
here.
Are you
Yeah.
feeling cold?
Yeah. Do you feel the breeze? What is some classic 98 degree song? Is there a draft?
Clammy day. You're gonna get a burn.
Aloe up.
The worst thing is that the boy band 98 Degrees is the reason I know the human body temperature is 98 degrees.
Oh, is that what it
Oh.
is?
That's why it's named that, yeah.
Oh, I thought they just picked a
That's why
random
doctors are
camera.
so smart. They can detach
Yeah,
it to anything.
next-
You're in the middle of a test, like, oh,
Wait a minute.
boy band.
Look, I'm not smart. I just remember bits and pieces of trivia, and sometimes you can assemble them into something impressive.
Yeah.
Not as often as I'd like.
No, but I think that's like kind of the definition of intelligence, though.
Being
or
able
maybe-
to assemble random
But
bits of
Look it
trivia.
up. I guarantee you, that's exactly what you said.
But like to me, it's like none of it's original, right? I'm just remixing whatever. So like when I say it, I can see the constituent parts, and I'm like, none of this other than the order is unique to me.
See,
So
no,
I'm
you're
like,
too fucking
everything you
intelligent
say
for your
is a
own good because
remix.
you're never
Yeah.
going to experience happiness because even
Yeah,
if you have
I
an
agree.
original thought, you won't be able to give
This
yourself
is-
credit for
this
it.
is
You
why-
fucking Eeyore sad motherfucker. What is going on? Give yourself some
Eeyore.
credit.
This is why depression is correlated with the amount of education you have.
Right.
That's a real statistic.
See, but you're
Mental
never. But
health
you're
in
always
grad
going to tell
school is
yourself short.
horrific.
Oh man, I told you
believe
this
it.
the other
Yeah.
night when we were at that show. No one's going to give it to you. You got to take it.
Yeah.
And but at the other side of that too, right? You can't be cooler than the corner because you source all your parts from the same fucking
Yeah.
place, right? We're all kind of assembled from the same shit, right? So
Yeah.
whatever little pieces of the human experience that you put together to make this lie that is like your
Yeah.
identity, my identity, or whatever, right? You still got to own it.
I mean, well, everyone's personality is a lie. It's just that I know where the parts of mine came from. I don't know where the
Right.
parts of your guys came from.
Right.
So
I'll
you
show
might-
you a whole CD stack. It's
So
like,
you're probably
it's
walking
all-
through life also feeling like I'm a fucking fraud.
100%.
But because I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
identify that's from that. Whereas in me, I can be like, okay, I know that this is from this and this is.
Okay.
Right.
But you look at other
yeah.
people going, wow, they're very
Yeah,
confident.
no.
But like, but I'd rather. But like,
They really got their
like,
shit together.
Because
Totally, yeah.
no one cares about other people's
Shit.
sense
Yeah.
of self as much
Totally.
as that person does.
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
not at all.
But it's
You want
nice that we
someone
have
to
you here
break down
because,
their
yeah.
personality for you,
Totally.
like go through all their past traumas.
Yeah, but if we had to do that, then to get to you, we'd have to interview like 50 other guys.
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
just glad that we
Yeah.
got to you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
There you
yeah.
go.
Not bad.
Get the
Fucking-
benefits of that accumulated knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, recycling and remixing information.
It's like I'm the intellectual equivalent of a multivitamin. I take all the good stuff, extract it out, put it in a pill form.
Oh, I'd say you have a little more B12, my friend.
I was gonna say 13 herbs and spices.
You're so Italian sometimes. I
Yeah.
just don't know. I don't know.
That was a fact joke for KFC.
Spices.
For the audio audience, I am a large man. Yes.
I thought you just brought up herbs and spices.
He fucking knew it.
Oh no, I knew exactly what he was going for. I mean, like,
He has a sharp radar for fat
that's
jokes.
That's the other thing. That's the other thing. Not only am I cripplingly insecure, I also am just constantly on vigilant alert for fat jokes.
Well, you're a fucking comedian too, right? So like, I mean, you have to like,
This
Yeah.
is
you
why I don't
you
do
want to get in
roast.
front of it, right? Like,
This is why I don't do roast because I'm like no one.
dude, I'm the
That's fair.
easiest mark, man. I
Yeah.
know. I get where
Yeah.
you're coming from.
But like people are like I feel like in the Vancouver scene like people they just know that I'm fat and that I come off as very sad.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like I don't need to hear that parroted back at me for like 5 minutes. But I remember
That's
like
fair.
a couple months back.
You're also gonna have better. You feel like you have
Yeah.
better jokes because, like, I don't know, like as a total skinny dude, like just growing up,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, you learn quick Either like I'm gonna have
I've
way
heard-
better
I've heard
jokes
these
about
same
my
5
shit.
jokes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have
totally.
way better jokes about myself than you fucking assholes are gonna have.
Yeah.
So like you just
Yeah.
like it's I get what
you
you mean.
get
You're
in
like,
front of it.
oh,
and
I
do
don't
it
want to
first,
hear like,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you tell the same fucking joke some kid told me in grade 7.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
who fucking
And
cares?
also in a roast type situation, I think that when someone just makes the same fucking obvious joke over and over again, they're shooting themselves in the foot,
Yeah.
and it
Word,
gives you an
100%.
opportunity to kind of get
Totally.
ahead of it. Someone's
Yeah.
gonna make the same
You can-
fucking
you can
joke
8
about
Mile
you.
it.
Exactly.
Dude,
yeah.
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
showed up though with
Yeah.
like if like say we were gonna roast each other or whatever, and I was coming with my vision of what Andrew Grant was gonna show up, and you just showed up with a fucking like your hair ponytailed and a smile like you mean it, and a Hawaiian shirt.
Clean-shaven.
Short hair, clean
Dude,
shaven.
I would
Yeah,
fucking I would shit
military
my
cut.
pants right there and be like,
Yeah.
I am gonna lose this roast right
Oh
now.
man,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That,
So,
that
like,
would that would almost be worth ruining my look for 6 months.
Ruining your look.
Hey, he's
Carefully.
worked
the
fucking hard.
Hey,
motherfucker.
it took a long time to manufacture this look.
For the audio,
Yeah, you gotta highlight your
audience.
attributes.
For the audio audience, I have a beard and long hair. I keep referencing visual stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we should
exactly.
have just made you describe your appearance off the top.
Yeah, it was weird. Well, like I mean, we didn't want to. If it was just a picture of you and that's all they saw, like you're definitely more like a body shop mechanic
Yeah.
than PhD guy.
I-
From looking.
I feel like whenever I look in the mirror, every time I see myself in the mirror, I just think, you look so much like a wet cat.
A wet cat.
You can see it, right?
I mean,
in the
yeah,
mustache, yeah.
It droops, a little droopy.
Oh, but I remember a couple of months ago, I was in front of a show. I think I was talking to Am.
Yeah.
And he was like, have you ever done a roast? Would you ever do a roast? I'm like, I've done them. I don't really like them. You know, I feel like people don't know a lot about me. And then, like, fucking the best example of people not knowing enough about me. Friend of the pod, Peter Grant.
Oh,
yes.
here we go.
No relation. Friend of the show, Peter Grant, comes up behind me, slaps me on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, Mr. Grant." And I'm like, "Doctor."
Yeah, you don't let that Australian talk to you like that, bro.
No, fuck
You
that
punch
guy.
him in the mouth.
Yeah.
Hope you're having fun back in Australia, by the way, Peter Grant.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's having fun back in
Absolutely,
Australia.
yeah, definitely. He's gonna need to mellow off the. No, we're not
We'll
gonna talk
leave
about
it
the
at
internet. Mellow out, Pete. We'll see you soon.
Didn't his parents get really upset with one of the interviews?
That's the
Oh
word on the
yeah,
street.
yeah.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
dad like phoned him up, said, "This is not the Peter Grant that I raised." Because the whole fucking episode, we were just making jokes about him being a pedophile.
I thought
And
it
a
was a
wh-
white supremacist.
It was both.
It was both.
It was both.
Yeah, we definitely went in.
But him.
Peas and carrots, man. Peas
Just
and
assumed that was. I love that his parents didn't even question. It was like, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right?
Well,
I
it's
couldn't
like
believe that
Peter
they didn't think it was going to be a bit. Like we
Yeah.
were very clearly bullshitted.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I
Peter
don't think
was
that
yes anding
I mean,
us.
as-
Like he was going along with it.
Yeah.
He was not defending himself
We
at all.
prepared more for that
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah.
than probably any one of them. We're just like pitching like kind of roast back and forth. And we
Yeah.
fucking took it too far. It was awesome. It was
As
awesome.
I'm sure you guys have experienced, there is never any joke so obvious that no audience member will misinterpret it as a serious statement of fact.
Yeah.
True. Very true.
Oh, shit.
Like, we do the best we can to wink at the camera.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think, well, like that's just the problem with I think anybody showing something to their parents. Like I'm still kind of mortified. Like my mom knows that this exists and stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
like everyone in my family is kind of instructed to be like, if it's not really your brand of your tea. My auntie told me that it's a little too dice clay for her, and I was like, that's
Yeah.
not really what we do. But
Imagine.
kind of a cool compliment, I guess. Like,
Hickory dickory dock. Hey, Andrew Grant's on the podcast. Hey, ow.
I think.
it's just gonna cut to
Yeah.
It could be ridiculous.
I think initially definitely the excitement, like all of my family was watching all the episodes. That's definitely faded off. Though my mom still listens to every episode.
Shout out,
hey
Julie.
mom, she says she loves the new producer.
Oh wow, it's so funny you say the dice. I just pictured your whole family being different versions of Dice Clay. Like they're watching it and they're like, oh, Johnny, no.
Every single one of my aunties just has fingerless gloves and cigarettes. What the fuck are you talking about, John? I was a good man. I was a good man.
The T-shirt with the pack of cigarettes rolled up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh.
I mean, maybe not for just loud and
Respect.
boisterous, but definitely,
No
yeah.
respect.
I think that's like I fuck that. Probably that like New York thing even just bleeds into that personality a little bit, as well, because like every guy in my family will play it up like a little bit more, especially when we're all together. Like Jackie's been to Christmas dinner and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're trying to out of town. What the fuck are you talking about? What's the matter with? Get the fuck over here.
No, when you're back with your family, you regress. Like,
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I go back
Oh, yeah.
to Ontario.
Just
and
immediately start hating
No,
blacks.
my accent gets so rural. Like I stopped dropping the G's off of my
Yeah,
INGs.
oh, really?
And like
Start adding R's.
Yeah. hard R's. Yeah. No, like, I catch myself doing it, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you doing? You don't sound like this."
But you feel like I feel like I have to. Like it's
I
not.
definitely do that at home. There's like an island accent kind of that again is just like racism.
Hey, also weed.
And
yeah.
weed,
Yep.
yeah. Racism and weed. Those are the two. That's bread and butter.
Two main exports.
yeah, if you want to dive into the development of my personality. But so is LCD Sound System still like your kind of go-to music that you would listen to now?
It's definitely still one of the ones when I need to like focus on something.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, honestly, I don't listen to music. I listen to podcasts.
Right.
Show Me Yours podcast, where all fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah.
Why am I advertising it to people that are already listening to
Yeah,
it?
dude, that was a sweet
it's
plug
great.
for our
Sick.
podcast.
We're just gonna have that on a loop.
yeah.
We're just gonna cut that and put it at the beginning of every podcast.
that always blows my mind. Like if ever I watch like an NBA game, they'll have commercials for the NBA.
Yeah.
yeah, dude.
Do you like basketball?
Yeah.
You like more basketball.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
fucking-
in the sense of like, fucking Bucks, Pacers, 5 o'clock tomorrow, like
Yeah.
that kind of shit.
Yeah,
well, that's
yeah.
different. That's
Yeah.
But it's like watch the NBA. It's
Yeah.
like
Well,
I
I
am.
am.
Yeah.
I think technology is getting
How
too
do I
much.
watch it more?
Well, technology is getting too much because you can get like an NBA League Pass or something, and you're enjoying it on your
Yeah.
television, but you could be enjoying it more on your phone
Yeah.
and take it seamlessly anywhere. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
there's too much NBA.
Yeah.
You guys ever think about the Canada Heritage Minutes?
Oh yeah, all
Fuck
the
yeah,
time.
man.
Because they really kind of stuck in my head when I went abroad, because their commercials for Canada played on Canadian TV.
Yeah.
And in like a good 60% of them, we're the assholes.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
like that's like the
Like-
like Canada breeds that's like the difference between us and America with like nationalism and national
Yeah.
pride or whatever, where it's like, hey guys, like we're cool, but remember we're nice guys.
Yeah.
Or,
Don't
you know,
forget.
Yeah.
that kind of
Don't forget, we cut the bottoms out of peach baskets to
Oh,
play
yeah.
basketball.
Yeah.
We're terrible people.
But I need these baskets back.
That's the only time. The best part about that is like they don't. Why wouldn't they just cut? They don't cut a big enough hole
No,
for the
those
ball to
doesn't-
fall
No, I
through.
know, and he's
He
got
just
the
with a
blue one.
fucking. That's so stupid.
When I was living in
You've already ruined the basket.
when I was
The
living in
episodes
Hong
look shitty
Kong,
too.
when I was living in Hong Kong, I would show people the Nitro Railroad one,
Okay.
and I would just be crying, laughing. Well, they would just be like, "Why did someone make this?" And look,
Because we needed to know. I mean, well, is that I think it's the government subsidies or whatever, CanCon, right? Like, I think that like the
CanCon?
government
Yeah.
makes that kind of shit. So if there's, some kind of mandate for X amount of dollars to be like put into education and entertainment or whatever, right? Then those they only made 10 commercials
Yeah.
and ran them bitches for
But,
fucking
like,
10 years
I
straight. It's
I
crazy.
just can't imagine any other country making these commercials for your country that you
Yeah.
show only to your country, where they don't paint your country in a very good light.
I don't know.
mean-
I think Germany had some videos. Maybe just posters. But
Yeah.
it was about how great they were.
Consistent
Yeah.
for a long time, Andrew.
Yeah.
But it's like even wouldn't that would be like talking about how like amazing Germany is though, like these yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, Deutschland über alles, but
Yeah.
That's the
California.
first line of their old national anthem.
Oh, really?
They don't
Wow.
sing that verse anymore for reasons.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Deutschland,
Germany?
Germany above all.
Above
Yeah.
all. Well,
Oh, so now,
Uber
now
alles.
for Dead Kennedys fans out there, California Uber alles makes some sense to
Yes.
us.
oh,
Yeah.
Uber
So like
alles.
they didn't
Deutschland,
change their
Deutschland.
national anthem when they went from Nazism to their democracy. they just lopped off the first verse.
Hey man, the song
Right.
still slaps, boys. Let's fucking
Yeah.
we tweak this a little
Yeah.
bit. Still. That beat bangs, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very dancey.
Deutschland.
Above all.
Uber alles.
How about equal to?
Deutschland,
Equal to
we're
all.
yours, well, no problem here.
Yeah. Don't mind us.
Deutschland, no problem since 1945.
Deutschland. We're not trying to cause any problems here.
Like that.
Deutschland. We know you've heard about us, but come and find out for yourself. We're cool. We're cool.
Deutschland, no problem since 1945. It sounds like a fucking Kraftwerk album.
Another instance of dance music that I cannot imagine anyone ever dancing to.
Right? Yeah, totally. Yeah, they just wrote. Yeah, they just like write songs about cycling.
So they wrote Autobahn.
Oh, dude, that's probably my favorite song by
It's
them.
based on like hitting cracks with your tires on the Autobahn.
Yeah.
But it is just the worst fucking driving music.
Fun on the Autobahn. Yeah, dude. Or they also have
And it was back when all synths sounded like devil accordions.
all this sawtooth wave, just so aggressive sounding. Oh, dude, we'll do one of those albums, dude. It's like, yeah, they all got really into cycling at one point. And just made.
I fucking love Tour de France. It's a
Dude,
great
it's
song.
so good.
That's a
Oh
great,
my God,
that's a great fucking song.
I was like, this is a genre that I have not
It's
delved
so
into
funny.
at
So they
all.
just have a song
Kraftwerk
called.
Yeah.
were like the first electronic musicians.
Okay.
Or like near the first. They're like
Right.
seminal. And it's
Think
all,
of three German
Yeah.
mod dudes
Yeah.
making that type
Oh,
of
I
tune,
can
see
and that's
it. I can see
exactly
it.
what they
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
like no humor.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's
it's
very
all-
short ties and very, but we're
Yeah.
going to make very fun dance music.
Like
Right
the Big
angles
Lebowski
in
where
their
they ripped those guys
haircuts.
off.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they have their song Vitamin, A, B, C, D, Vitamin. Yeah. Oh, man, this is a fucking gem.
Okay, we
That's
can get
fucking
on
awesome.
that
Yeah, we
immediately.
definitely got to delve into that. So if you're gonna be like, I'm curious if you're gonna be like writing, or so two-parter. If you're when you like write jokes or whatever, is it something that you sit down to do, or is it something that like kind of spontaneously comes and you kind of write it down in your phone or whatever? And if it is something that you sit down to do, would you like kind of put on headphones and get into that like flow state again?
I am a horrifically undisciplined comedy writer, and like I always am like, I need to be working harder at writing and shit, and I just never really get around to it.
No.
I'm very much like, when a funny idea hits me, like I'll take out my phone in the middle of a goddamn conversation, and excuse me, and I'll write something down.
Yeah, totally.
Because
yeah.
if you don't, it's gone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
gone. Like you
exactly.
need to write it down when you have the
Yeah.
idea.
I'll be like almost asleep and be
Yeah.
like, "Fuck, I have to." Yeah.
Well,
I-
do it, and then,
yeah.
then 3 a.m. or whatever. Show like, yeah, exactly. Well, one of us will be like, you know, that when it comes, it comes. Because if you wake up in the morning and like, sometimes you look at it back and it might not be great or whatever, but the thought of not writing it down and losing it, because in the morning you're like, that was fucking gold.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
never
Yeah.
gonna think of a joke as funny
Yeah.
as that again. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly like I swear 80% of my writing is on the bus to shows, before
Right.
shows,
Yeah.
just after I get off stage, or
Sure.
after shows,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes going back from shows.
Yeah.
Like it's just I know that if I want to do it as a job, I should treat it like a job.
Yeah.
Where like I devote time every day to sit down and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But just the idea of me sitting on my couch and being like, gonna turn off the TV, gonna go into my office, and gonna write down funny things just
Yeah.
sounds. It's like it just sounds so.
It's too forced too.
It is.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's hard.
But I mean, like that's all the really famous people, like all the really successful people, all the really like big names. That's
Devote
what they
that
do,
time.
right?
Yeah, I do find like I try to do a mix. So yeah, if an idea comes, I'll jot it down quickly, and then I try to kind of devote time to be like, okay, let's expand upon all of those things I jotted down. But like you said, I think often like my like best ideas will come like right after a show when I'm like kind of in that zone and I'm kind of like thinking back on my set and it's like when you have like a fucking fight with someone and then afterwards you think of the best thing you could have said, and so you're thinking about your set and you're like, oh fuck, I should have said that. Now I will.
There's a French phrase for that that's like esprit de l'escalier, or
Escape the stairs?
Oh, spirit of the
spirit
of the stairs.
Oh,
yeah, I think I've heard that.
Right. It's the thing that you think of as you're walking down the stairs.
Interesting.
Yeah.
My French accent obviously is atrocious, but
so is mine. It's Canadian.
Getting French accent.
My French accent is so fucked up. French Canadians are like, "Are you Belgian?" And I'm like, "Nope, just terrible. Just terrible in French. That's all."
Yeah, it is hard though, because I think, especially with comedy, you can't fucking force yourself to have a funny idea.
It is. I think
for
like
me,
a hard part for me is that like when we're like writing scripts and stuff, like diving into that stuff, I think the better that story is going to get, the more times you go over it and massage it, and like writing is rewriting, and that's like one of those those phrases and stuff. But to do that, like with my material, it's something that I know that if I take another pass at it, I can tighten this up, or I can do this, or I can add stuff to it, right? And it gets it's me talking myself out of my own head, right? Yeah. I think it's more of the like laborious kind of act of sitting down and forcing yourself to do it, especially with material that you've already written, with material that fucking works too, right? But you're like, if you really want to,
can I make it better?
Fuck yeah, man. There's fucking money on the table left there. If this, we were at Dave Chappelle last night, right? Fucking, he's setting up a fucking joke that Ty is doing and he's loving. And when we were in the car last night, Ty's like, that's my fucking bit for a second, and then you're like, but wait a minute.
Yeah, okay, so this is what fucking it was. It was
guys, that's my fucking bit.
It was like, no, I was like, wow, I was like,
yeah.
It's a
Dave Chappelle was at Calabash 2 weeks ago, like fucking Carlos Mencia in the back. Fucking stealing my bit. No, so he started on this like
the same wavelength as somebody at that level.
He literally did. It was like the starting of like this one thing, and I was like, "Oh wow, cool." He went there too. Like I'm on the same. We think the same. And then it was like he just went on, just like he attacks it from this angle and this angle and this angle, and then the other shit I would never fucking think about. And it was just like, holy shit.
There's no meat.
It wasn't like I was gonna hit this one tiny ass little avenue, little crescent, and I was like, there's so like I was like, oh, that's it, that's gotta be it for this, and it was like, oh no, like it was just like literally an entire galaxy of stuff that I would have not even have fucking considered. It was like unbelievable.
It is crazy how much is left in a topic that you think you're done with.
Totally.
I have an entire like 5-minute bit that stemmed out of a one-liner that I wrote and did as a one-liner for years, and was like, that's all that's in that.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just crazy how much you can get at.
Well, there's some stuff like I'm starting out, I think, with like, I don't know, I just tell like a lot of stories or whatever, so I can kind of get lost in the minutia, or I can really focus on one specific thing. But I'll get off stage sometimes, and there's comedians that are better than me that I'm lucky enough to be in the fucking room watching or whatever. They'll sit down and kind of go like, you're running away from this thing, you know what I mean? There's nuggets of this that you could mine, you know what I mean? That 10 minutes that you're talking about is fucking like 30 minutes in there if you mine it out right. And when they're talking about that, that's what I'm thinking when I'm at home trying to be how do you expand it, how do you make it better? But then it fucking comes down to probably, I don't know, for me, weed. I'm like, honestly, it's a Drive-Ins and Dives is on. Guy Fieri's crushing right now. Like, I'll probably just chill.
So like,
which sucks.
I'm not a weed guy, and I don't think it's speaking out of turn to say I am outnumbered in this room.
Big time.
I'm just curious. Like, do you guys find that weed helps the creative process, hinders it, or it's just kind of incidental?
I think for me, it totally depends. Like, in terms of getting ready to do a show, I think it takes me out of it completely. I feel like I can't be like funny in a performing kind of way. And kind of it same thing almost for when I'm writing. I feel like it makes me not want to be productive, but then there are also times where it'll kind of heighten the creativity. It just kind of depends like where my mindset is going, into it, like where I'm at that day, it'll kind of depend like what direction I'm gonna go there. But if I smoke past like a certain amount, then it's just nothing productive's happening. Yeah.
I think if I'm doing it, then I try to force myself to work at times that my brain isn't probably like the best time to be creative. In some sense, like in construction or whatever, my inner clock is kind of up at 6 a.m. So, and if I'm not going to work that day, then part of me is like, now is the time to get work done, right? And I think, after a walk around, the neighborhood and maybe stop for breakfast, and you can actually kind of put your eyes on stuff and see it, that's when I rate my best stuff. But it's, but if I get up in the morning and I'm, just want to relax, smoke some weed, and then kind of chill there, that can definitely be a hindrance. I smoke enough of it that if I'm going to, if I bump into Ty outside of a comedy show and he's puffing a joint or whatever, it's not going to affect my set if I hit it with him and stuff like that. Yeah. So I think I blame it for, I think, a lot of my, I don't know, maybe shortcomings as far as productivity is concerned. But at the same time, I do rely on it for, to kind of stay on a certain wavelength and stuff. So yeah, it's a love-hate, I think.
Yeah. Because I've somehow made it into like 35 years of life with having never smoked weed.
I don't think you can start.
I mean, honestly, at this point, it's just kind of like I made it this far. How much farther can I go?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like when you need to fill up your tank with gas, but you're like, I wonder exactly if I can get to the next stop in the next.
Right.
Oh, totally. Yeah, you have to kind of know your if you know your vehicle now, then.
But there are multiple Vancouver comics that really, really, really want me to smoke weed. They're trying hard and they're gonna win eventually. But.
You're more than welcome to join us after this episode. We're about to land the plane here. We're at about an hour and 6. This is like a perfect time right now.
Yeah,
I'm curious about Ty,
I was just gonna say I'm curious about Ty's answer.
You're like, I'm curious about the raging pothead over there.
Yeah.
Well, because we also have a
well,
lot
it's because
of
you
booze,
don't
like,
have
there's
other vices that you indulge in.
And now it is kind of my only, coffee, but like it's my only like vice that I do indulge. My weed intake obviously went up.
Of course.
When, because when I was like you, like when I was doing like tons of like blow and like drinking a lot, weed gets like
I was like you.
No, I didn't mean like that. No, I didn't. That's not what I mean.
I know.
But, like, it's like bullied. Like we got like bullied out of the way from me. A lot of the time, where it was like I didn't want to like because it made me think about all the horrible decisions that I have made. So I was like, oh no, but like
really shine a light on.
Now I find it's like because I do like I'm like I don't like when I'm at work I don't really smoke during the day that much anymore unless it's like a day off. But I find it's like honestly for me now it literally just enhances whatever kind of mood I'm in at that time. If I'm like kind of being a lazy fuck that day and it's like I will be more of a lazy fuck.
Exactly,
but if I'm like I'm getting shit done like and I'm just like in that mentality for whatever fucking reason then it like I'll get extra shit done. It's
exactly.
Like I find it just enhances whatever kind of mood I'm
totally
in.
As
far as like
I
let's
think
like
that's
navigate
what
where I'm going.
I think that's what I was trying to say, but I didn't articulate it well at all.
Same.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't want to trivialize addiction.
There's definitely too much high, like to get too high to go on stage though. Like I don't get like fucking absolutely barbecued. I can't do that. There's like that magic, it's like I remember when I was like drinking.
Beers,
there's it's like I'm really good at ping pong.
Totally.
I can fucking play billiards really well. Like it's like it's that like fucking sweet spot.
Next shot, you just dog shit again too.
Yeah.
There's that.
But with a little more control, like than I had of alcohol, where I was like, oh, sometimes 4 was like great. Sometimes it'd be smashed off 4 though. I have no fucking idea, right?
Yeah.
Weed.
Weed.
Speaking of, should we go small?
Yeah, I think. Do you any final thoughts on the album from anyone?
Honestly, it was something that we're gonna do a second episode at today on a different record that I was curious. I was interesting that I enjoyed this one more than what is considered to be like a classic or one of like, the best ones of all time or whatever. So I didn't roll my eyes at it as much as I thought I was going to. On the second listen, right? On the second listen, when I enjoyed it in the right.
Yeah.
I think with music like this, and if I'm kind of going on an exploration or like putting myself out of a box that I'm like very, very comfortable in, then I think I need to listen to this kind of stuff in the right environment. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of opening my eyes to how I'm gonna like continue to take records in for the as the show continues.
Yeah.
And like it's
yeah.
interesting because that's basically what it did for me as well. Like when I started listening to it, and it expanded my horizons. And other
Definitely.
stuff.
Yeah, and I think definitely like you said, especially for this podcast, like going out like into the world, kind of forcing yourself out of your regular environment and listening to it like walking around or in the car. That's where I find I like consume it best, versus like if I'm just listening to it because I'm like, I know I have to listen to this album, and so I just like put it on, then it's already a chore that I'm already
Yeah.
like
Sometimes it
prepped
can
to
be
not
homework.
like it. Yeah.
Definitely.
But like, yeah, and with like the album that we're doing for the next episode, in this conversation, I even noticed like some like parallels that are that'll be interesting to dive into.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I enjoyed the album. Like we said, definitely better on the second listen.
100%. Yeah. I think we're
but
just,
yeah.
we're just being shit.
We were probably just being shitty. That's it.
No,
Yeah.
I chose the album specifically because I thought it would be a curveball.
It was, and like,
Yeah.
and I like appreciate,
Yeah.
you know, like challenge me a little
Yeah.
bit, right? The next time you come back, like, don't be afraid to, you know,
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
to
like
even go
if,
further
if you
into it.
guys
That's
have me
awesome.
back on again, don't expect it to be like the same type of thing.
No,
Right,
perfect.
yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
But yeah, it definitely opened up
When?
my eyes to a genre that I wouldn't normally listen to,
Mm-hmm.
and gave me a little jog down memory lane for Daft Punk, who's is playing at my house on the OC.
I
I
imagine
remember
we're
that
gonna be
Seth
getting
is listening to it in his room. I remember.
Oh, you definitely provided a couple butt shaking tracks that we're gonna get to.
Butt shaking tracks.
I'm gonna be moving it.
yeah.
I'm gonna move
And yeah, why don't you tell the peeps where they can find you if you want to promote
I mean,
promote yourself.
If there's a comedy show in Vancouver that includes people where it's not their entire living doing comedy, I'm probably going to be on that show eventually.
Yeah.
If you go around the Vancouver scene long enough, you're gonna
Yeah.
find me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
be there.
Absolutely.
You know, you can get me on Instagram at Grant C. Andrew, on Twitter at Andrew C. Grant. Couldn't get the
Oh.
same for both.
Love it.
Couldn't
Well,
get the same for
we'll
both.
I
have links
couldn't
for 'em
get
down there.
I couldn't get my Twitter handle either. So yeah, I'm Jackie Agnew on Instagram, and then Twitter is Jackdoor Girl.
That's my baby.
But yeah, no, this was a fun episode. As per usual, you know where to find us. Subscribe, like, comment, all that shit. And thank you so much for coming in. Sorry we fucking postponed so many times. We appreciate your patience. And this was fun. This was
Definitely.
awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Fuck
Sweet.
yeah.